Ladies and gentlemen, the second inductee into the SSNA Ovens and Murray Football Netball League Hall of Fame in 2024 from Albury Tigers is Chris Hyde.
Chris Hyde was hot property when his 93 AFL match career at Richmond came to an end. A Barooga boy, a return to the country was inevitable, and Albury beat off a long list of suitors for his services, with the ace up the Tigers' sleeve being Paul Spargo's time at Punt Road as an assistant coach. Hyde's arrival in the O&M was perfectly timed, as the Tigers settled in for a period of sustained domination with Spargo back in the top job. Albury and Yarrawonga played off in every grand final between 2009 and 2014, and their matches, both in home and away and at finals time, resembling heavyweight title fights between two teams brimming with top-end talent and both despising defeat. The Tigers set the pace early in the head-to-head rivalry with Yarrawonga, winning 3 in a row, before the Pigeons climbed off the canvas to win back-to-back flags. Albury was successful again in 2014. One constant was Hyde's ability to deliver when a grand final or finals match was at its hottest. He won the Did Simpson Medal in 2009. He won Best and Fairest in 2010 and 2013 before taking out the Morris Medal in 2017. Hyde coached the Tigers to the 2014 and 2015 flags after his first season at the helm ended in a grand final loss in 2013. He played in 10 successive grand finals, winning 7, a record he shares with teammates Joel Mackey, Luke Packer and Michael Thompson, and also with legendary Wangaratta Rovers full forward from the 70s, Steve Norman. Chris Hyde, an elite player of the game, is an outstanding inductee into the Ovens and Murray Hall of Fame.
Just a couple of easy questions to get started. Chris, he's a hard man to get talking sometimes too, but what an unbelievable record. Now, I know it's been talked about a lot, and I know Paul is in attendance tonight, but for a young man who'd been from Barooga, spent a long time at the Richmond Tigers, played nearly 100 games. I know Paul was on the coaching staff down there, but you would have had 100 offers. Why Albury Tigers? Can you explain to the gathering tonight, because your record is unbelievable once you came back?
I was involved with Spargs down at Richmond. He was assistant coach at Richmond at the time, and he was coaching Coburg, and at that stage I was playing a fair bit of footy at Coburg. So at that point I didn't have the relationship I have now with Spargs. It was obviously a working relationship. I didn't want to be playing VFL when I'm 22, 23. Sparks probably didn't want to be coaching VFL at that point. So then when he came back up here, that was sort of the obvious connection. And then I had a look at the list that Albury had, and I remember Jay Sheaver, who's in the room tonight, he played with my brother. As a kid growing up, you look at the Bush Rangers list, and I think Jace was the captain of the Bushies, and they were, I didn't probably look at AFL at that stage. They were more like my idols. He played with my brother, and brothers in the room as well. So Jace was at Albury, Daniel Marsari was at Albury as well, so when I played Bushy with Dan, looked at, there was a couple of familiar faces and Spargs at Albury, and I thought, well, that was in all honesty why I ended up at Albury.
I want to talk to you a little bit about later on when you took on the coaching job at Albury. You had an opportunity to go out to all places, but Brand through a family relationship out there. So you decided to stay and take on the coaching job at Albury when I believe you weren't really keen on coaching at that stage.
Yeah, well, Roy Hamilton, there's obviously a family connection there, and Roy's involved at Rand, and Roy rang me and said, we're looking for a coach, and this is at Rand, and I said, mate, there's absolutely no way that I think I don't even know what else. I was probably 28 at the time, and he said, "Would you, look at coaching?" I said, "I'm not interested in coaching." And got a lot of respect for Roy, and family connection, obviously. And at that point in time, that was the honest truth. And about 3 weeks later, I think I was named as Aubrey's coach, and I was just like, I didn't ring Roy, but I felt like I needed to ring him and explain it's not how it kind of looks, because that was when I spoke to him. That was the honest truth. So, they say a week's a long time in footy, and that is so true.
You succeeded with, and we've heard it, I'll go back over some of your numbers later, but best and fairest, premierships, Morris Medal, 7 flags. You were known to be somebody who was well prepared, fit, focused. What drove you? What was the motivation for the boy from Baruga to achieve at the level that you did for such a long period of time?
I think it was probably just getting the best out of myself. I don't mind if I come last or, I'm not the best. I'm okay with that, but it's probably just getting the best out of myself. And I'm not too, concerned. I say that to my kids who are in the room tonight. I don't care really whether you're the best or the worst, but it's just trying to get, the most out of yourself, and that was probably what motivated me, I suppose. So, yeah, it was pretty simple, because if you're not working hard, from the way I looked at it, then you're kind of letting yourself down. It's not really anyone else around you, and that's probably how I approach my footy and, my life, I suppose.
In 2014, we had the terrible injury to James McQuillan, and I know you caught up with James recently at a club reunion, and I might remind everybody that James has just headed off to Paris. He's in the Australian Paralympic team, in the wheelchair team, so he's done an unbelievable job, and I think that deserves a round of applause for himself. I was fairly closely connected to what occurred at the time, and I'd like you to explain to people in the room, you made a comment the other day that the relationship between Yarrawonga and Albury was really fierce, and it was building to a level that was probably ending up for a bit of trouble, and that seemed to temper things, and things changed between the clubs. So can you just explain a little bit about what occurred? And
when we played against Yarra, up until Jimmy's very, very unfortunate accident, I felt like every time we played it was just escalating, and I'm sure there's people who have watched those games. It was probably highly anticipated, I suppose, from the spectators' point of view, and it was something that, probably as a player, your anxiety got up and you were looking forward to playing each week, and it just, every time you played the clash, it was just like, it just got almost bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm not sure how Yarra felt about it, but I certainly, from my point of view, I think from the time that the accident happened, which was extremely unfortunate, I felt like there was a real calm is the right word, or just the respect from both clubs. It was just like, righto, almost like the air kind of went out. Let's just concentrate on playing footy, and it was a sort of like a mutual respect, and certainly that's how I felt about it. There was no niggle, it was just footy was played in the right manner. I'm not saying that it wasn't played in the right manner prior to that. There was a lot of niggle, and it was just sort of escalating every time we played. So that's kind of how I felt about it. I'm not sure, how Yarra felt about it, but that was certainly, and it certainly played in the right manner now. But it was a really weird time, to be honest.
yeah, and both clubs handled the issue very, very well. So we applaud the people that were in charge at the time. I know both the former presidents are here tonight. A couple of years ago, I happened to be at a Richmond Footy Club function at the MCG. The player featured that day in front of the enormous crowd was one Chris Hyde. I remember running into you up in the stands. It must have been a wonderful occasion for you to have your family out on the MCG so many years after and being feted by the Richmond Tigers. So I'm interested in your comments on that.
It was probably only literally a week. They call it a homecoming hero. And it was probably only 2 weeks before that I talked to my wife Peter, and I'd said, kids were getting a little bit older, and I said, look, I hadn't been back probably 10 or more years after I'd played, or been delisted, I suppose. I hadn't been back to the footy, and I sort of said to Pete, we probably should look at taking the kids down to AFL, just showing them what the MCG is like, because they had no idea about it. Literally, the phone rang, I reckon, the next week, and they said, we have this homecoming hero, and I know what you're thinking, and I know exactly what I thought. I think I'm no hero, and Richmond, I played, a few games, and Richmond weren't great at the time, so there's no homecoming hero for me. I sort of was just a role player and pretty ordinary time. Felt a little bit embarrassed by it, but I guess the thing I took out of it was my kids loved it, got back down there, and that was important, I guess, as much for my kids to see what it was like. But yeah, I was really, I guess, proud for them to experience that. So
you handled yourself brilliantly with the interview on the Oval. Chris, thank you for answering those few questions. I'll now hand you the microphone to make your thanks. So congratulations and well done.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm conscious of time for everyone, but there are a few people that I would like to acknowledge. I'd just like to obviously congratulate the rest of the inductees tonight. I think it's, like myself, I'm super proud and honoured to be here in this position, but from my point of view, I'd just like to congratulate the other inductees. To Ronnie and the committee and the Ovens and Murray, I'd like to thank you for my induction. Said to my brother today, probably, truthfully, I feel like a little bit right spot at the right time. Delve a little bit deeper and think about the footy club, I think about my teammates. I'd like to thank Shooter, Hodgie, the board at the time at the footy club. Been enormous. I haven't seen Reedy here tonight, but Reedy, the support staff at the footy club, Shano, I know Shano's here. Just there's been a lot of people involved in my time over the journey at the Albury Footy Club that I'm super grateful for. I know it's an individual night, but I'm acutely aware, I suppose, of I wouldn't be standing up here with there's a strip of people in the room tonight, and without their support, I wouldn't be here. Got the call about being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and truthfully, I didn't say anything to anyone for quite some time. I was a little bit probably, I don't know if embarrassed is the word, but I didn't really want to say anything to anyone. How you feel is how you feel, but I sort of, I guess I felt that way because, as I said, I'm really aware of my teammates, and I wouldn't have achieved this and, they talk about grand finals and that sort of stuff without, the players, and there's a lot of players here tonight. There's a lot of players who aren't here tonight who have contributed to that. So to the guys in the room, I thank you so much for what you contributed to the footy club and contributed to me, so just to acknowledge that. Graham, you touched on it, Sparks, for getting me here. You're a legend, had a massive impact on my footy career, and I appreciate you being here, mate. Cole, Lorraine, I know PJ's not here. You do the amount that you contribute to our footy club, to all the people, to the community. It's greatly appreciated, and from the bottom of my heart, I sincerely thank your family. Just finally, my mum, appreciate everything that you've sacrificed over the journey. I said I wouldn't get emotional, but my dad, he's not here obviously. I know he'd be super proud. Kath and my stepbrothers, Gus and Jack, appreciate you around me. To my brother, come up from Melbourne. Talk about competing when you're younger and stuff like that. Just good role model, I didn't want to be better than my brother, anything like that. It's just a good role model. I just wanted to be like him, so thank you, mate. And finally, to my wife, she's literally, for the people who know, she's literally been there, I reckon, since I was playing juniors, colours on Sunday. Literally. Thanks, Pete. My 3 beautiful kids, wonderful. Thank you for everything you've given to me, and part of the recognition tonight is, I know it's an individual thing, but without support of the people I've mentioned, my wife, my kids, couldn't do it, so thank you.
Pretty unbelievable record. Chris also averaged nearly a goal and a half for his 210 games. Morris medalist, dual club best and fairest, life member of the footy club, played for the O&M, 10 straight grand finals, winning 7, did Simpson medalist and a premiership playing coach, all after he played nearly 100 games at Richmond. What a fitting inductee, congratulations. And Chris still helps out at Albury Tigers, he still does the running, and they tell me he nearly played in the reserves a couple of weeks ago, but I'm pleased he didn't. So well done, Chrissy Hyde.